Hi everyone and welcome! Today let's make soft pillowy saffron buns. Let's get all the ingredients. We will need 21 grams of fresh yeast, 50 grams of sugar, 400 grams of strong white bread flour, 175 milliliters of milk, a pinch of saffron, 40 grams of butter, 2 eggs, 1/3 teaspoon of salt, and about 80 grams of dried cranberries. Usually dried currants or raisins are used in saffron buns. I don't have currants and did not want to use raisins, therefore I will use dried cranberries. If you wish, you can also skip the dried berries. As I'm using fresh yeast, at first I will prepare the yeast in a small bowl. That way I will know it's working and it will already start its activity. So I crumble the yeast. Add to it about a tablespoon of sugar and 2 tablespoons of flour. I still need to add a bit of warm milk. Let's put all the milk in a pot on the stove to warm up on medium heat. When it's just slightly warm, not hot, let's add a bit of it to the yeast in the bowl. About 3 tablespoons, so that the yeast with the flour are wet and can be mixed. Now we can put the yeast aside so that it starts growing and put the rest of the milk back to heat up. Let's also add the saffron to the milk and stir it a bit. The milk right away gets nicely yellow. Let's wait now for the milk to start boiling. Once the milk shows the first boiling bubbles, let's remove it from the stove and put aside to cool a little, as we cannot mix hot milk in the yeast, which can kill the yeast. While the milk is still hot, let's add the remaining sugar to it and stir it a bit to melt the sugar. Now let's also add salt and the butter, which we also want to melt in the hot milk. The butter has also completely melted, so I leave it for now for a few more minutes for the milk to cool. Let's check the yeast now. It's alive and active, growing nicely and foamy. Also, the milk has cooled. It is slightly warm, which is what we need. Let's sift the flour in a bigger bowl and add to it the rest of the ingredients. One egg. The other one we'll leave for brushing the buns later. The milk with the sugar and butter. And the yeast. And mix it all well to form dough. I start mixing with a spoon at first, and when the dough becomes too thick for the spoon, I knead the dough with my hands. It is wet and sticky in the beginning. As I continue kneading, the dough starts to come together, and a little later it does not stick to the sides of the bowl anymore. Now the dough forms a ball. It does not stick to the bowl or hands anymore. So I will sprinkle a little bit of flour on the kitchen countertop and knead the dough on the kitchen countertop for a few minutes. The dough is not very hard, it is easy to knead. And in about a minute it has become consistent and smooth. Now we need to gradually add and knead in the cranberries. So I will flatten the dough a bit, put a handful of berries, fold and knead them in the dough. Even though now it feels like a lot of berries for the dough, when the buns are baked, they will be a lot bigger and it will be only a few berries per bun. All the berries have now been kneaded in the dough. Next, I will cut the dough in 12 pieces to shape 12 buns. I will not weigh the dough to make exact size buns. I will just try to cut it approximately the same size, as I don't mind that they come out in a bit different sizes. Now let's shape the dough pieces into balls. I stretch the sides a little, fold and pinch them together on the bottom. I will make sure that the berries are inside, not in the outside of the bun, as they might burn when baking and will not taste that great then. I'm trying to get all buns smooth, but I don't want to overwork the dough either, so if the bun is not totally smooth, that's okay. All the buns are prepared, so now I will oil a baking tray and put all the buns in the baking tray, leaving gaps between them. Now we need to cover the buns and let them grow till they somewhat double in size. Depending on how warm your house is, it could be an hour or more. About 10 to 20 minutes before baking, depending on how much time your oven takes to fully heat up. Let's set the oven to heat to 200 degrees Celsius or 430 degrees Fahrenheit. After an hour and a few minutes, the buns have nicely grown and feel very soft to touch. Therefore, I'm lifting them very gently. All the imperfections from when I shaped them are more visible now, but that's okay. They will bake and grow and get their nice shape. Let's break an egg in a glass and beat it a little with a fork. And let's gently and generously brush the buns with the egg. And put them in the oven to bake for about 15 to 20 minutes till they have nicely browned. If you feel they're starting to brown too fast, too much, cover them loosely with aluminum foil and reduce the oven temperature by 10-20 degrees so that they keep baking but the tops don't burn, as we want to make sure the buns have enough time to bake through. Remove the buns from the oven and let them cool in the baking tray for a few minutes till they are fine to touch. The ready buns just from the oven feel hard on the outside. They will soften once they cool down. When squeezed, they feel soft, billowy. Inside is nice yellow. The bun has a very light, sweet and soft flavor from saffron. The sweetness is not too much, so the bun will still taste nice with some butter and cheese. Happy baking and see you next week. Bye!